Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Green Journal Entries. Today is going to be a good day. Today is Friday, July 20th, 2018. If you're seeing this video in the future, then obviously it's not July 20th, 2018. Anyway, today, like I said, is going to be a good day. If you've been following me, watching my videos, I've been leaving little hints and actually been saying that I'm going to be removing the pups from this Bromliad here and repotting them. And I've been saying stay tuned, keep up, follow me, because this right here, well, it's not a very hard task, but it was pretty daunting because this would be the first time that I removed the pups of a Bromliad and repotted them, and I didn't want to mess the pups up. There's a bug flying around me and it's getting on my nerves. But today is the day that we tackle this thing. Stay tuned. We're repotting Bromliad pups. So I've already gone ahead and took the plant out of the pot. That was real simple. I didn't think that you guys need to see that, but you just flip the pot over, hold the plant by the base like this, tip the pot over, kind of give it a couple bangs in the back, and the root ball and plant should just the dirt should just slide right on out of that pot. If you have a plastic container, then you can just work the sides of it and loosen that dirt up. I had a porcelain pot, so I had to beat the back of it. So here we have the two pups exposed, ready for removal. Now you want to be careful when you're taking these pups away from the mother. You don't want to tear or rip anything because that would damage the pups. These pups are ready to be pulled away. They're about 1/3 of the size of the mother plant, and that's usually what you want to do. If they're 1/3 to 2/3 the size of the mother plant, then it's time that you can remove the pups. Keep in mind though, the longer that you do keep the pups attached to the mother plant, the more nutrients, the better the roots that will grow for the pups. So I'm just going to pull away of this dirt real gently, just to get the roots exposed to see what we have down here. Let's see here. I don't have my knife. Now what you could do is gently pull apart the roots, pull the plant away from the mother. I don't advise doing that because when we pull things apart, we generally tear and rip them. My idea, and I suggest, is to cut them away. At least when you cut them, there's a clean cut and you don't have to worry about anything tearing, ripping of the such. So I'm just trying to pull away the dirt here and get some of this peat moss. These are some different looking roots than what you would usually see from other plants. Let's see here. I'm trying to get it on here and pull it away. Pull the dirt away. Okay, so I got the pups exposed as much as I can. What you could do is take a hose and rinse the root ball down to get all the peat moss, all the dirt, soil away from the roots, and just fully expose the roots. And then you could then proceed in cutting away, which honestly doesn't sound like a really bad idea because it's just so darn tough, and I don't want to mess these pups up, this plant. but I'm so tempted to just go ahead and rinse the root ball down. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to completely rinse all the dirt off here to expose the roots, and then I can see exactly what I need to pull away or cut away from the mother plant. Be right back. Okay, now that I have gone and I rinsed the root ball off, cleaned all the dirt off, you can now fully see the roots. Now at this stage, we want to move kind of quick because the roots are exposed. They have no way to pull in nutrients. So you want to move kind of fast when you're doing this. I mean, you don't have to move terribly fast, not flash fast, but you want to move. If it's something that you're going to do, you're going to have to do it now, not later. So now, okay, to remove pup number 1, I don't know if you could see down there, there's a little crevice down there. Get your really sharp knife, and I'm just going to cut gently, just separate it. Oh, dude. Well, that didn't go too well. I completely separated from its mother, no roots at all. Man, that didn't go the way that I wanted it to. Okay, so pup number 2, you know, I'm almost as if this plant wasn't ready. There we go. All right. Now, if you see what I did there, I went in and I cut into the mother plant, leaving the roots attached. See that there? That is how you want to go ahead and pull it and cut it off. That's why we don't tear it off, because if you tear it off, you're not getting the roots to go with it. Now, the mother plant, I took pretty much all the mother plant's roots, but that's okay. Oh, that's one weird looking root ball. And see, this is what I'm left with. Now, the first one didn't work out too well, sorry to say. That's kind of sad right there. Not only is it now abandoned, I'm going to have to put it in a foster home. I'm going to see if I can try to root it. Maybe some rooting hormone, and put it in some soil, maybe some peat moss, or just see if it'll root in regular water. It's worth a try. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop this.
Earlier this morning I was making a video for the Bromliad pup removal that I was building up for. And so I did the recording and found out that the entire time I was repotting and explaining about the soil type, I wasn't recording at all. And so here I am, same day, but later on in the afternoon, recording with the finished product of the Bromliad. Sometimes, you know, you just feel stupid, you know, sitting up there talking to myself and not, you know, not even recording. So this time I put my shades on because it is about almost 7 o'clock in the afternoon, and the temperature is still about 105. So about $105 the temperature is. Here's the Bromliad pup from the mother plant. It's potted up and ready to begin its new journey as a maturing plant. Like I said this morning, or just like I just said, the video of me potting this and and explaining this type of soil is completely gone. So I'll run through it real fast, but it kind of took all the wind out of my sail. So with potting these bromeliads, the pups, you want time for the roots to develop. And so with that, you need a medium that's going to allow for complete drainage of the water, but retention of moisture. So that, if that makes sense, you don't want you don't want a topsoil or a potting soil that's going to retain a bunch of water. You need something that's going to kind of run off and leave the soil just damp. And with my mixture, I used topsoil. I wish I could tell you what part, but topsoil. I use orchid mix, and orchid mix is nothing more than just like bark, pieces of wood, bark off of trees. I also use some compost, which is the humus and cow manure. You always want to use a little bit of compost, and in that compost there's also pieces of sticks, pieces of bark, little pieces of wood and things like that that didn't completely break down. So that also keeps the soil loose and free draining. And then also some vermiculite. I like using vermiculite because it's very light and it's very it keeps the soil aerated. So not only is the water running off, but the soil is kind of oxygenated with vermiculite. Now, granted, vermiculite does retain more water than, say, perlite, but with the right grain of vermiculite and the right amount, it's actually a really good medium to add to any kind of soil. And with these broms, you don't want them to root rot. You don't want them sitting in water. You don't want any plant really sitting in water. But when it comes to new plants starting out and trying to get their roots mature, you want something that's just going to be damp. Another thing about vermiculite is that you don't have to water as often. Say if you had perlite. Perlite is very porous material, and the water kind of just runs through it. It retains water, but it also sheds water. It's one of those type of minerals, because it is a rock that have both. It retains water, but then it kind of it's porous, so it kind of the water runs through it. With vermiculite, it retains the water, which also means that you don't have to water as often. And honestly, I think vermiculite, and I'm going into vermiculite versus perlite, and this is about a brom, but I think that vermiculite is better when it comes to some of your houseplants, because that will limit you on how frequently you have to water. And the biggest reason that houseplants die is overwatering or not enough light. But number one is overwatering. We think that the plant is thirsty, and you water it again. And then you water it some more about a week later, and then you water it some more. Well, you have to think about it. Your plant is indoors. And it's number two, it's not getting enough light. And I'm not trying to go into a whole spiel of houseplants. Maybe I'll make a whole video about that. But it's not getting the light that it would if it were outside. So it's not creating the energy. Pretty much all I'm saying is it's not drinking all the water that you're feeding it. So you don't need to water as frequently. With vermiculite, you can literally water your plants once thoroughly and kind of let it sit for 2 weeks tops before you have to water it again. But always check, make sure that first 1 inch of soil is dry before watering it. Now that's about houseplants and vermiculite and perlite. Back to the Brom here. I wish that I had the mother Brom to show you, and then I had a number 2 pup that didn't make it. I was going to go ahead and try some rooting hormone and putting in some water, but you know, I just decided not to. I decided not to do that. So, I already went ahead and threw the mother in the garbage along with that smaller pup. I know. I don't have a compost pile. In one of my episodes, I was showing that I started in a compost pile, but I don't have one. So, unfortunately, it's going in the garbage, and it can go ahead and decompose in the landfill somewhere with all those organics. Well, that's what a landfill is. It's just one big compost pile. If you have any questions, comments about the bromeliad in this video, go ahead and drop it down in the bottom. I apologize for the missing footage, but what can you do other than come back and say, hey, I messed up, I did a silly move. Anyway, thanks for watching. I apologize again. Subscribe down at the bottom, and we'll see you on another episode of the Green Journal Entries. You know, I've come up with that name, and that name has stumped me just about every time I say it. It's almost like a tongue twister. But the Green Journal Entries. Subscribe, comment, leave something, say hello to me. I will love that.